Sizler de ağzımını yuttuk kızarmaz. Oh. Yeah. Okay, looks like we're live. We're live on YouTube, guys. So let me go ahead, turn off my phone. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. I just want to welcome everyone here for our study session. Let me see. So it looks like we are live on YouTube as well. I want to introduce my team here. So on the right, on top, we have Mr. Agha here, and Nasiba Khan Nazarova here, Nazakat Khan Ergasheva, Zuhra Mahsoudi, Sherzad Jan Birkutbayev, Guzel Khan Sabirova, Shirbek Naimov, Fatima Mahsoudi, Miss G. Welcome, everyone. Okay, so today we're going to have a interesting class. I want to talk about, I'm going to go back to the fundamentals. I'm going to talk about the basics, okay? Like starting with the variables, like we're going to give a meaning, like what are the exactly variables are and how do you work, and some of the things that I want to talk about, it probably maybe it's good for you guys. You'll probably discover something new. So let's start it. Now, what I want to talk about, I want to share my screen first. Let me open up my PHP Storm. Okay. There we go. So let's go ahead, close everything that we don't need. This is very good. PHP fundamental knowledge. It's very, very good. So we'll close unnecessary files. Okay, we don't need it. Now, I know I never get tired of saying the same thing over and over. I usually like to put my windows side by side. So left side, my PHP Storm, and on the right-hand side is my browser. So, okay. Okay, good. Now I'm gonna open up a project. And right here, let's use the robotics and create a new file. By the way, everybody can hear me okay, right? Since I've been using my microphone, I just want to make sure that it's working, okay? If you can hear me, just shout out. All right, September 26th is the day. Today's the date, September 26th, and that's what we're going to be working at, okay? Now, first thing is first, if you guys remember, we talked about the variable. Variable, okay? So let me talk about that too. Variable, everybody knows there are two parts for the system. One is a CPU, and the second one is memory. And if you guys purchased computer recently or before, a long time ago, that the store associate usually asks you, if you want to buy a computer, and I want to ask you why you want to use the computer for. Is that for study? Is that for just browsing the website? Or is that for something like heavy, like working on applications, developing something, maybe playing games? And based on that, they recommend you a computer that you can afford or you need. So the reason they ask you is the more mathematical operations or the more calculations you do on your computer, or you work with the servers, you work with the, any kind of a development tools like XAMPP, and then you have database, right? And you have a bunch of other stuff. Obviously, you're gonna need a heavy processor, like a strong processor, along with strong memory. And that's why you guys like, hey, I need i7 Intel Core or i9 or i8, and I want like minimum 16 gigabyte of memory or 32 gigabyte memory. So the higher the memory and CPU, the better chance that you're not gonna see the whole lot of a delay. So sometimes you see the loading, well, just because you're overloading the whole system. So now the memory. So let's talk about this, the program here. So we all know programming is sets of, or simply say collection of instructions, right? So we know that. So you tell computer what to do, and computer will basically executes it. So it's like I said that before. You go to the store, you can buy a Coke or Pepsi, and if Coke is not there or they don't have Coke, then you buy something else. It's just instruction, and that's what we do. We tell computer step by step, and then computer will execute it. In order to do that, we need to understand the computer language, and that's what we're learning. That's what we're learning. We are learning how to communicate with computer efficiently and better, so that we can get what we want. Basically, build programs. Now, for example, the biggest, I guess, a milestone for the programmers, it will be getting a better grasp of what the variable is. This is the step one. So you need to understand, when you get into the programming, you need to understand what the variable is. And when you understand the variable, you must, without any saying that, you have to understand how it's stored in a memory. So let's say that I take the variable, I don't know, my name. I want to store something with the John, the name John. So I'm going to say name, or we can just call the first name, equal. Obviously, I'm going to use wrap it up with the double quote or single quote, because John is a string. And you guys know the data type string, it requires a single or double quote, unless it's a numbers, or unless it's a Boolean, unless it's a null and array. All right, so now what's happening here? So let me draw a picture here, what is really happening. So imagine this is a memory. So this is a memory. A memory is basically, and there's a middleware, I guess, there's some application here, so it's gonna be going between your program and the memory. So let's convert that to action, like a theater. There's some actors going on here, so that, all right, so now I'm saying, hey computer, yes John, what I want is, I want you to create a box, like, well, basically, technically speaking, I want you to allocate, okay, a cell in the memory. I want you to create a box. Okay, I want to create, I did create a box. Okay, what do you want me to do? What I want you to do, I want you to name that box first underscore name. Okay, so let me go ahead. I will call this first, right? First underscore name. So I apologize for my handwriting here. It's just a little awful. So first underscore name. And that's the name of the box. That's the name of the box, okay? In the memory. Now, computer says, okay, John, I created a box. What do you want to put in there? Do you want to put anything in the box? I said, absolutely. I want to put the name. That's a string. String is a series of characters. I want to put that inside a box. Now that box contains John now. Okay, so memory has that. The second, so that's the first thing. First thing is computer asks me the name of the box. Second, it's going to ask me the value. And the third, it's going to ask me the type. We call it data type. So, and the good thing is, with PHP, we don't have to worry about that. Unlike some other languages like Java, maybe C#, that we do have to specify what type of data that we're storing. But fortunately, with PHP, we don't have to do that. And I'll explain to you why. For example, all I did was I gave the name of the box and I gave the value of the box. The two things. I did not specify whether it is integer, whether it's Boolean, whether it's something else. I let the computer decide. Computer is smart enough that the Zen engine is smart enough and figures out, oh, wait a second, it's wrapped up by quotes, so that's a string. Okay, so automatically that box becomes string. Okay, so that's obviously clear, right? So it should not be any problem. Now let me. Oh, I just clicked and deleted accidentally. I apologize. So let me put that back on quick. So a box. I'm glad that we didn't go too far. I could have, deleted the entire session. So this is the box, and we know we call this first name. I just want to put this first underscore name, as long as you guys understand that. And inside that box, we have the word John. Okay? No question asked. Okay, now let's go on and find something else. Next thing we're going to do is, obviously, the person is associated with what? Age, right? Sometimes time is your best friend. Sometimes time is your worst enemy. Unfortunately, that's how it is. Sometimes it can go do some favor to you. Sometimes it can go against you. But we cannot ignore that part. So age is automatically comes to mind when you speak of a human or a person. So age. Let's just pick someone in the middle, someone 25 years old. And now just imagine the communication between this right here, let's say the program and the memory. Hey, memory. Oh, yes, John. How can I help you? I want to create another box. Of course. That's what I do here, right? So we're going to open another box. Yes, John. What do you want to call this? I'm going to call this age. Age. Fantastic. So what do you want to put in that box? I want to put the number 25. Oh, fantastic. Beautiful. Okay, so we are going somewhere. So now computer has two information. One is first name and age. Now let's say that from here all the way, I have thousands of lines of code. Thousands, lots of code. Imagine these steps will repeat as many times as the computer program required. If they have to do 10,000, 10,000, 20,000, 20,000. So the relationship between CPU and the memory, as you can see, CPU does what it does. We guys know that, right? CPU does all calculations and working with the heavy stuff, time management, like schedule management, and, calculations, a lot of stuff, basically. It basically comes down to it help you make decision. With help of what? With help of memory. Memory. Because CPU by itself, it cannot do nothing. Because how would you remember if you are doing something? It's imagine like it's like, hey, I want to create the name. Okay, so I'm creating name, but what I'm gonna save? I need to store somewhere. So I'm gonna say, hey, memory, I need your help. Stay right here. Okay, sir. Every time I give something, I want you to store that. Every time when I ask you to destroy that, I want you to destroy that. Every time I ask you to change the value of that box, then I want you to do that as well. Whatever I tell you, that's what you're going to do. You're my assistant. Yes, sir. Memory staying right here and go to hand. And that's what we're going to be like. We're making decisions. A plus B equal, boom. Okay? C equal to A plus B divided by what? 2. A, what's A? A is going to be whatever the user enters. Okay? We're going to tell the computer, hey, a memory, I want to make sure that you store that A, I want you to store that B, and then when I say C, I'm going to say, I want you to open another box, and I want you to get the value of the A and the value of the B, and now I'm going to turn it over to the CPU. Now CPU do the job. So between these two, kind of teamwork. All right. Now let's talk about the integer now. We are talking about the age, right? So let's go ahead and delete. Now this time we're going to be careful. I don't want to delete entire thing, just those lines that we don't need. There we go. Okay. There's a couple of ways you can check the integer. I'll show you one. Boom. First one is option number one. Option number one. Why it's so important to validate our data. Why so important? We all know that. Because when you're working with a variety of data or data types, you have to know category plays a big role. Because just a simple example, when you do the mathematical operations, you only can work with certain types of data. For example, numbers, right? Can you add the number to the some name like a string or John plus 15? It just doesn't make sense. Who does that, right? 15 plus John or 15 Johns? Not gonna happen, right? So that's why we gotta keep them as a family. So numbers are numbers family, strings are string, and then we have this Boolean, and we have this resources and object, and we have this Boolean. You know, we got so many of them, right? Like 8, 9, something like that. So if you know all that, you pretty much know, you should know all the languages pretty much the same. About 70 to 80%. They use all the data types. They might have addition like plus minus. Some of them don't have. Some of them, you know, they might call it list versus array, but otherwise, overall, fundamentally the same. Now, I want to make sure that age is a number, not 25, TWENTY 5. I don't want that. How do I make sure that it is number? Let's say you don't assume, when you write a program, you never assume that's what it is. Oh yeah, I know, 8, of course, it's supposed to be 25. No, you don't. Because remember, you're not the only one who's going to be working on the program. You are part of the team. You are a part of the team. There are other people like you going to be working. We are human. Sometimes we forget. Sometimes we might, well, we're tired at the end of the day, and like, you know what, accidentally, age, maybe I put a, I don't know, I wrapped up by quote maybe. I mean, it's still 25, but the data type is changed now, right? So when it comes to, you know, mathematical operations, that matters. That plays a role. But fortunately, PHP, you know, takes care of that. But I'm going to show you that as well. So my job is to be sure that age is an integer. How do I do that? First thing is, I can use the if statement if I want to. I'll show you different ways. Let's do that one. I'm going to say get type. I'm going to say age. Do you see that? It's going right. And then I'm going to equal. I want to do 2 of them. I'll just say integer. So what I'm saying is, I'm saying if, and then I'm using the PHP native function called get type. And I'm asking, hey, PHP, can you help me figure it out what the type of this variable in that box? What I'm saying is, I'm asking this right here, which is right over here. I want to know the value more, but I want to know even more the type. Is this a string? Is it a Boolean? Is this integer? And this will give me that, okay? That give me, if this integer, it'll give me that what I'm asking you. So I'm going to go delete that, and delete that. Okay, cool. So now, if it is, this will tell me the variable, and then I'm going to escape $, because otherwise PHP will read that 25. We don't want that. We'll say age is an integer, okay? Else, then we'll say echo. I can do the same thing. The variable $, we're going to escape that, $age is, that's right, is not an integer, so that you can see the difference, okay? So now I'm going to come back here and refresh this thing. The variable is an integer, and we know why. We can confirm that. What happened if I wrap it up with quote? And when I come back, the variable $8 is not an integer. Boom, that's one way. That's one way, right? So if you want to even simplify this, Let's go option number 2. Option number 2. So you can use a couple things. There are some ternary operator or coalescent operator, like question. You guys know that, right? So, for example, I can do exactly the same thing like this. Let's say is a number. That's my variable. I just create a variable, right? So now I can say get type. Then I can call this age, right? Actually, it has to be equal sign. Get type equal sign. Then you can say, you can just leave there right now. You can leave that right now, but we have to equal this to integer right here. So it's basically, it's going to return Boolean. This will return Boolean. You know why? What computer doing is, first step is computer is getting the type of this, and then is comparing this to the word integer, because this one comes back either integer or something else. We know that. So if this is integer, I want you bring me true. If it's not, I want you give me false. You can leave there the way it is if you want to, unless you want to change the ending result. Let's check it out. Now, when I come back, and if I throw a variable var dump is number, I'm going to go ahead, comment this out. Sorry about that. Let's comment it out. And when I come back, refresh, false. And when I come back and remove this, true. It's get type. So get type of age, is that an integer? Now it's going to come back yes or no. And then based on that, you can basically, if you want to do that, same thing what you did, you can do this, except get rid of that. Now you don't need that. Okay, if you want to do that, but nobody wants to do that. Unless you want to do that, it's fine. I'm just showing you that you can get something done with more than one way. There's multiple ways you can get the job done. At the end of the day, what comes down to less code and more result. And make sure that we are following all the standards. And another thing that we need to keep in mind is you're not the only one working in this organization, for example. You want to keep in mind, what I'm writing right now, does that meet all the standards? Number 2 is, can anybody else jump in on this code and understand what I'm doing? Can you help me out? Or are they going to get lost? So you don't want to write messy code. The messy code you write, someone else will come in and try to help you. Guess what? When you see it, like, oh my God, who wrote this? This is so nasty. I don't like it. So many unnecessary code, redundant variables they created, and didn't even do the validations. Why? What a horrible person. And now you don't want to do that. So what I like to hear about myself, when I write a code, somebody looks at my code and was like, oh my God, this guy is awesome. Whoever write this, awesome. I like to work with this guy. Look at him. He got this indentation. So for example, when you copy and go to code and reformat code, look at this, how indented. Comments, right? And he doesn't have that unnecessary redundant variables that he created. I like that. See, that's a reputation. That's your rating. When they see it, like, oh my God, I like this guy. I like this young lady, whoever. Doesn't matter. Okay, that's good, right? So that's option number 2. So I'm gonna go ahead, comment it out. And option number 3, if you want to do that, that's fine. That's how to do. If you're gonna say is integer. Now this is more of a specific as well. So age. Now you don't need to do any comparison because it's gonna come back true, false. So in this case, now you can come back and copy what you did before. You can come back and replace this. Boom. Everything else there, come back, still the same. Now, if I come back, write something else, I don't know. $ var age, the variable age is not an integer. See that? So get type it'll come back with the name of the data type, and you can just say if it's integer, integer, if it's array, array, if it's string, is string. If you're ever wondering what this is, it's coming back. Let's just throw it right underneath, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead, throw this right here, and then I'm gonna divide this by my line, and that coming back string, and that's why this is not true. It's false. Now, if I put that number back, 55, for example, and refresh, and guess what? That's the integer, and that's why when I compare this integer, and this will be true. Okay, making sense now? So you guys now you know how to do validation on integer. Now there will be moments, I don't deny, that happens sometimes. I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes. Here's a situation I want you to consider. There will be situations where it's not the type that matters, it's the value. You may say, you know what? I don't care if it's variable like integer. I don't care if it is a string. I don't care, as long as what I'm accepting is the number. That's all that matters. Okay? I don't care about the types. I don't care about the value. So let's do that. So in this case, you say if. Here you're going to say is numeric. Do you see that? And then you're going to put this function. I'm sorry. Is underscore numeric. Is a number is fine. Is numeric is fine. So then you're going to come back $h. That also returns the Boolean, true or false. Now, I'm going to copy what we have here. So same thing, except it's not integer, is a number, right? Variable age is a number, okay? And then we're going to say else, and then we're going to copy that again. And then instead of it's not a number. Is that correct? So let's go ahead, comment it out, and there we go. Is numeric age? All we're asking is this a number? You come back. The variable age is a number. Is a number. Now, what happened if I say this? Sorry, let's try again. What happens? This one, we know this was not true in all three cases here. It was not true here. It was not true here. It was not true here. And it was not true here either. What do you think now the result will be when I say is numeric? What do you think? Anybody guess? So, we're expecting what?
Not the numeric.
True. It has to be the number. So when I come back here now, this will change string, but the answer remains unchanged. It says the number. Do you see that? Okay. So now in order to compare this all, so I'm going to go delete that. I'm going to go ahead and delete all those, uncommented all of them, so that we can compare. Okay, so when I come back, we're going to do the same thing here, uncommented out. All right, wonderful. So what I like to do is, at the end of these, all of them, I like to put HR over here. So we can divide, right? We can see the difference between this and that. You know what? I can even do a couple of them. So I'm going to copy, and then right here, and then right here. So let's find out. Boom. So 55, not integer. So we should put like a line number as well. If you want to do line number, watch me. I'm going to do that too. So option number one, I'm going to do echo magic right here, constant. So that basically show you the line number. Okay, line number. So then I can come back copy this and just put it right under the option right here. And I believe this one, option number 4, right? Okay, now this will show me the line numbers. I'm gonna come back, refresh. So line number 7, so that I know this will be line number 7, which is this one, get type integer. And this is not integer. So you guys following me? So right now I'm getting this. Yeah, I should not be using the color green, because green represents something approval, right? Which means good. Red represents something denial, reject. I'm going to use a number right here. Okay. And the next one is going to be 16, which is right here. That belongs to here. And this is also not an integer, right? Let's talk about the 26, which is right here. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to delete all mine and then come back to 26. 26, which is right here, and that's also not integer. We know that why. But for some reason, now I'm going to have to switch to the green, and this one comes back as a number. Not necessarily integer, because we're not checking the data type, we're checking the value now. So what did we learn from this? Data types, values, right? When it comes to numbers, depending on what we're trying to do. So now, since I have this number, I can convert this to integer. We know, like type casting, type juggling, we know those, right? PHP has those options. So for example, if I want to change that, and then I can come back here. Now watch what's going to happen. $H equal. I can just do this, right? So when I come back, nothing changed because we're checking the number. But if I come back and say is integer, and let's see what happens there. Is it? Oh, I did not save. Did I save it? Okay, let's try again. That's integer. Yeah, I'm converting to integer. So yeah, of course, if I remove this, I don't want to remove this, but I want to comment it out. Now this is also come back negative. Integer. Now, how can I fix this? How can I enforce that I can convert this to integer? So then I can do that. I can force it right underneath. Watch. Now everything's gonna be integer, right? Look at this, automatically, all of them. You know why? But because that's what I tell computer PHP. I said, hey, this age, I don't care whether it's gonna be letter. I don't care if it's gonna be whatever. I want you to convert that to integer. So let me show you that. I can just say hello. This is gonna be integer as well, as 0. So now when I come back here, let's go ahead, instead of get type, you know, we can leave there, but I can also write something like .h. Let's see what else we're gonna get. 0. So when I say hello, PHP automatically checks the value and see if there is a number in it. I'm not checking the data type, I'm checking the value. Okay. So if it contains only letters or characters, then I will convert to 0. So I will check the first character until I find the next non-numbered character. For example, hello, there's no number, but if I say 15, what the computer does, what the engine does, it start counting from the first and go towards the end and start, okay, is this a number? Yes. Okay, take that. Is this the number? Yes, take that. Is this the number? No. That's it. We stop right here. We only take 15. Everything else, scrap it. And take that, and we assign to 15. So now if I come back and refresh it, guess what? Voila, that's 15. Now, what happens in opposite situations? 15 is not here, but 15 is in the end right here. It doesn't matter. You get 0. 0. Because I told you, it only takes the first occurrence of the number. That's what it does, computer. That's one of the things that I kind of fell in love with PHP. It's flexibility. It's kind of helping out the developer sometimes. You know what I'm saying? It's just like one less code I have to worry about. One less thing, validation that I have to worry about. Oh yeah, but its downside is, you know, you never be too careful. I like to be, when I go to sleep, I like to know that my code is 100% accurate, and that I cannot leave a chance for the program interpret some things. Like for example, this. What happens if someone? Let me draw you a picture here. So what happens if you have a form? Why am I keep picking this green color? I don't get it. How about this darker? All right. Imagine you have this form here, and then in the form, you want your users to fill out some personal information. And one of the information is going to be name of the person, which is the first name, last name. And then let's ask them how old they are, which is the age, right? And then another one is, let's say we want yes or no answer, like a Boolean, like are you a US citizen? Or I don't know, are you a New York resident? We're interested only in answer yes or no. That yes or no converts to us what? To computer? 0 and 1. 1 being true, 0 being false, or simply saying true or false. Now, let's say I'm expecting my customers or users to enter a number, obviously, but they didn't enter number. Somebody says, I don't know, 55 years old. You just literally type 55 years old. Imagine that. I'm like, oh, come on. I'm asking you a year. Like, give me that year. Or Yoshim 15 yaşta or something like that. They wrote it. They do that. So there's some people out there. You have to consider one thing. When you write a program, imagine that you are writing for 6th graders. Don't expect your users, just expect them, they don't know how to use that. That's where then people start using it. But if you expect that your audience will have some computer basic understanding, oh, of course, but we're living in a better society now. We've come a long way. I mean, everybody has computers nowadays. Everybody has handheld devices, right? Smartphones. I haven't seen anyone in my life yet. You know, I'm pushing toward 40 right now. I haven't seen anyone who says, I've never seen a computer, or I have never typed computer. Not anymore. So we're good. But unfortunately, we still have to, we never assume something. We're going to assume like, people should know. No, we should be as accurate as it can be, okay? So if you're putting something, make sure you put the validation. Make sure if you're putting the HTML input, make sure you put the type as a number so that they're not able to enter something else other than numbers. That's a front-end validation. Now, imagine there are some guys out there sitting in the basement somewhere, I don't know, in Turkey, in Russia, in Uzbekistan, some hackers. Hackers want to be. I have a great respect for hackers, by the way. Not that approving that what they do. What I'm saying is sometimes they spend a great amount of time to understand this network structure, topology, and how these things go, and everything, right? That requires a lot of time, a lot of passion. Not everybody can do that. But I don't approve. What they do is illegal stuff. I condemn that completely, 100%. Nobody is supposed to approve what they're doing, and you should not be idolizing them. What I'm saying is they really get into the system and define the weakness, define the vulnerability of your system. They are almost like they correct us developers sometimes. Like, I hope we're not going to get to that point, but I'm saying sometimes they find our problems as a developer. Sometimes we get carried away, developers. I can tell you right now, we developers in the moment of the hit, like, oh my God, this is awesome, and then we forgot the simple things. which is the security. And that's why the validation, what I'm trying to say is the key point. You have to understand, you have to have nice validation in both front end, you have to have validation on the back end. Never assume, like I said, you know what, I think this one validation is enough, like front end. If you do that, I can show you, I can hack your site like that, just second. If you do that, that will be a big mistake. Never assume, because hackers, they're not going to come in through front door. They're not going to come in through, for example, using your form. Who does that? Maybe amateur. That can do that. Okay. There are other ways they can come in. Like this, just take. Of course, it will be completely huge mistake if you connect the form, which is the form data, to your SQL statement. That will be SQL injection. I can write my SQL injection and I can drop your tables. I can delete the entire database, like all the tables. I can copy, I can log in, I can do whatever I want. We'll talk about that in some other classes when we talk about the cybersecurity, and we talk about how to protect and safeguard your data and your application. All right. So as you can see today, we start tackling and getting into more deeper in what those are. Now I can tell you right now, if you're able to explain to any job interviewer, potentially like the company managers, anyone who interviews you, if you explain to them like that, beautiful. Explain to them what those are and how you do this, how to protect them. Explain to them that if you are giving options, tell them about which option is better, what you prefer. You just tell them, I do two options. So one of them does this and one of them does this. Or both of them do the same job, but I prefer this, and tell them why. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's awesome. This guy's so passionate. He gets in and he get out and get the job done like that. And I want to have him in my project. I can see him working 8 hours and 10 hours or every day. Okay, so, and that's one of those things. Okay, so far, enter that and basically convert that. And another thing is right here, what this guy is asking is, let's say like a 1 and 0. Whoa, sorry, this is too big. So if this, did I delete this? I did delete that, didn't I? So if this is age, and this another question would be is like, hey, are you a resident of New York State? The answer is going to be yes or no, for example, right? And this, it can be, remember, the data come from multiple places. It can come from form, it can come from browser as a query string, as a get method, post method. It can come from API, it can come from database, it can come from file, it can come from session, cookies, and so on. It can come from anywhere. So what I mean by that is you don't get to control this. You don't know what the data is going to come in. You have no idea. You have no idea because you don't get to control that. It can come from multiple places. You don't know what they're going to send. They might even send you nothing. Nothing. So how would I do that? So in order to do that, so I'm going to go ahead, push this code. So what do you do? Git commit -m. I will just say my code is John is saving September 26th class notes or code, whatever. That's your code, right? So boom. Now git push origin, and then I'm going to put the branch name. So now I'm confident that my code is out there somewhere in the cloud repository. In case if my computer crashes, guess what? My boss is not going to chew my back, right? My boss is going to say, John, you're smart. Good. Now you can pull down on a different computer. Your job, you'll have the job. Because now imagine if you don't do that, show up to work tomorrow, for some reason computer is not going to start. you can't start the computer, or your computer hacked, or your computer crashed, your computer whatever, and your boss says, John, how are we doing on the project? Oh, boss, you're not going to believe what just happened. I said, what happened? Well, last night, yesterday, all day, I wrote thousands of lines of code. I wrote this and this. I fixed everything, and my computer crashed. What do you mean computer crashed? What happened to your work that entire yesterday you put in? Yeah, all the data that I had on the computer, everything is gone. Have you ever heard about GitHub? Have you heard about SVN? Didn't you just push the code? No. Get out of here. I don't want you to work for me. You stupid. All day you lost. All day. How could you do that? How dare you? You did not push your code to the GitHub or some other online controlled versioning repository. Isn't that the programming developers 101? Aren't you supposed to know that already? See what I mean? That kind of criticism, to avoid that kind of awkward moments, make sure you push your code. Remember that. Push your code. You save it. Don't rely on your local computer because it can crash anytime. But if you put it on the cloud, at least now you have two chances, either your computer or the cloud. Okay, that's it. Now, it's the same thing with the integer. So the question was, is that person a resident of whatever? So I'm going to go, I can close it now because I can actually close whatever. And in case, if I say, let's go, welcome to IIT-DU, let's see, you can just say US. Now, I can assume that pretty much all of you are using the PHP Storm. So yes, PHP Storm. Okay, so I'm going to show you if you go something wrong, if you accidentally delete something, accidentally lose some data, or like, oh my God, I wrote a program yesterday, I lost, accidentally I replaced with something else. So I want to show you quick that PHP Storm has this show history thing. It keeps track. As you can see, every time you change, look at this. Let's go ahead now. Look at that. I'm going, bam, bam, bam. This is the current one. You see that? And this is the one that, as it changes, look at that. See? It's nice, right? That's only locally though. Don't get too relaxed because this is only locally. If your computer crashes, this goes along with the computer. Remember that. I just want you to make sure that. And M, look at that. And this is the beginning, which is 9/26 September. We started 6:54, and that's what I created the file. And the last one is going to be either on top. Oh, sorry, right here, 6:50. And this is the current. Okay. You can, in case if you want to say that, hey, you know what? I made a mistake. Then I want to go back to this one. All you got to do is right click and accept it and close it. And when you come back, guess what? Now you have this last. Don't worry about it. Or you say, I want to, let's delete this part right here. Option number 2, and go back, local history and show history. Now watch this. Look at this. Look at this. Even show you, hey, which line is it? This stupid, just keep getting this thing. All right, do you see that? Oh, I apologize. These are really annoying, guys. What is it saying? It's just showing that they're supposed to be right here. What I deleted, it's showing even where it's supposed to be, right? So then what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back. It's like, this is awesome. I'm going to go ahead, accept that. Boom. It puts right back in. So that means when I come back, everything is as business as usual. Beautiful. Okay, it's good. So now that's another thing that I wanted to show you. Second one is, the question is, is person and Y a resident, and we expecting what type of answer? Shout out. What type of answer? What type of data type we are looking for?
Boolean, yes or no?
Huh?
Boolean number, yes or no?
Yeah, so we're looking for Boolean. So we're looking for what? True or false? So now, let's say that this person is true. We can also check this if this is Boolean. So if I say if, I can say is underscore bool. There we go. Now I'm saying is the person a resident? If it's Boolean. Now, I can do the opposite. I can say if it's not Boolean, I can just exit it right here and say, I'm sorry, your answer for the question, let's say about the residency, whatever, must be true. Yes or no? We can say yes or no. Yes or no format. Else, we don't need else because you know why? But I'm exiting, so it doesn't matter. If it's not true, then everything else will be executed. So I'm gonna just say good. So I'm gonna come back. I'll get good. But now what happened if I say, hey, I want to put this in the code? So we are checking both. We're checking the value and we're checking the data type. Okay. So in this case, what else I'm going to do? I'm going to put that back true. So, and now if I come back and show this guy, guess what I'm going to have on my screen? Come on, let's go work together. What do you think it's going to show up on my screen? Go ahead, speak up.
One.
You guys can speak up a little bit because I can't hear you. Hello, 1-1. Ms. Roka, speak up a little bit.
Let's call the number 1 or 2.
Okay, number 1 or true the update. Let's go. Who else?
True.
True. Okay. Nasibahan, Shirbek, Zuhra Mahsoudi, Fatima Han. Come on, participate, guys. Come on, guys. Did I what? You can speak English, guys. You guys speak English perfectly. So go ahead, speak English. What do you think?
I think true.
Somebody said true, right? Okay, so Nasib Nazarova says true. Now, you guys remember, we talked about this, right? Echo versus dump. War dump. You guys know that?
Yeah.
I'm just giving you a clue. Remember that. Come on, think about this for a second. Think again. One more thing. Is that true, right? There we go. So it looks like we are going with this too. Yeah? War dump is the only command that displays what? True, false, and the value. So echo will respond what? Remember I told you, like true was a berbolada, that false was a 0. Значит, true returns 1 and the false returns 0. So let's go ahead do that. So echo of the Boolean true returns 1. What happens to if I change this to false? Come on, guys. Come on, help me out.
0.
Who can? Huh?
It is 0.
0. Okay. Mr. Roka says 0.
0.
Mr. Burkutbayev says 0 as well. So 1 and 0. Honey?
It's
Sudi.
zero.
Okay. Show a hand. Who thinks this can return 0?
0.
Okay. 0. Huh? Yeah? Mr. Roka, did you change your mind?
Yo, mana bu yerda option berilyapti-ku, if deyapti, agar mana bu
Boolean. It's Boolean.
Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that one. How about now? Did I change your mind?
No, it's 0.
What do you get now?
It's 0.
0, right? Looks like everybody counts. Everybody says it's going to come back 0, except Zuhra Mahsoudi. Why is that?
I say it's 0. I agree with that.
She joined and she says 0, right? Okay.
Right.
No, let's find out. Zuhra, your answer is locked now. You can't change it now. You cannot change it. So now let's go and refresh. What? What is that? How do I read that? How do I read that? Come on, help me out, someone. How would I read that answer, that variable? You guys know that already. Come on, you know you can do it. This, come on, war dump. That's your best friend. I introduced you a long time ago. War dump. And when I come back refresh,
Boolean.
what? Somebody says 0 or false. I did not hear from here. That's a false. So what do we learn from this? So when we echo out the Boolean, if it's true, it comes like 1. If it's false, echo just doesn't print anything. In order to see that true value, we have to use the war dump. And that's why war dump is the best friend of a developer. War dump. Okay. Now, you guys following me, or is that too fast? Nasiba, you okay? Nazarova. Okay. Nazakat Ergashva, you look kind of surprised, or like kind of deer caught in headlight. You okay?
Biraz masam yok da şöyle.
Okay. All right. But you're following, right? Okay, cool. Everybody good over here? Mr. Naimov, how you doing, brother? You good? Okay, good. And Guzal Sabirova?
Good.
Good. Okay, everybody else good. All right, I like active participation, all right? Just throw out, ask questions, show some energy, all right? Now, guys, I'm gonna ask you a question, and you've done that before. Shout out if it's correct or wrong, it doesn't matter, all right? So imagine this is the memory. We talk about memory constantly. And you guys already know, every time when we create a variable, we create a little, like a cell, right? We allocate a spot for that memory. And we call this what? The name of the box or variable, and then the value. So 2 things we tell computer when it comes to storing something in the memory. Now, a simple question. How do I check if a variable exists in the memory? How do I check? What's the command that I have to use to check whether a variable exists in the memory? If it doesn't exist, then I'm going to go ahead and create it. What is the one command? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think about it. Ready? Why are you sending to group chat? Who is this? From Miss G? No, you don't send it to group chat. If you know the answer, don't send it to group chat. Miss G. That's plagiarism. That's not good. That's not ethical. When you send to group chat, that's almost sharing. Not good. Never do that again. If you know the answer, never share with the group, because this is everyone responsible for the individual progress here. Understood? That applies to all of you. Never share your homework unless you're helping out. Don't give entire homework. Say, okay, good. It's almost like you go to university, college, and you're copying somebody's work. That's subject to immediate dismissal. Plagiarism degan narsalar bor. Birovni ishini qilsangiz, siz har doim kredit berishingiz kerak uni ishiga. Men Burkutboyevning ishidan mana busini kopiya qildim. Mana o'zi ruxsat berdi. Mana yozishingiz kerak. Yoki aks holda teskari bo'lishi kerak. Shuning uchun Amerikada birinchi o'rinda plagiarism juda katta o'ynaydi. Demokratlar, prezidentni nominiylar, kandidatlar hammasi qaytadir bir joydan kimni gapini aytib turib, unga kredit bermasachi, media boru tepkilab tashlaydi. You hold accountable. If you're using somebody else's work, but you don't mention that person's name, that's like very irresponsible action. So, okay, I just want to let you know. I just noticed that I'll tell the Miss G too. No, you don't ask. You don't ask. Not here. I get to ask question. I'm asking you guys, not other way around. I'm asking you. Don't ask me. So I'm asking you. All right. So we're gonna use what? If is set, right? So now I'm gonna come back and say what is set. Let's say I'm looking for citizenship. Is citizenship. So I'm gonna say if it's correct, then we can just say the person has $ citizenship. Else, we can just say this variable, and we go, we're gonna, what am I doing? Escape. Who can tell me? What am I doing? Escape.
Because
Ignoring.
Escaping, right? Escaping means I'm telling computer, don't worry about this $. Just read it as it is. Do not consider this as a variable. Consider this just a simple text. Now, when I come back and refresh my browser, it says this variable, citizenship, is not defined or declared. What just happened here? Now, if I come back and say citizenship equal United States and refresh, I can just say citizenship. Okay, when I come back, say Russia. Russian Federation. The person has a Russian Federation citizenship. So what happened if I just completely remove it from the memory? Now memory doesn't have that. Now it has this variable citizenship does not define or declared. So now what happens if I don't use this one and all of a sudden I start using something that has not been defined yet? So I'm going to say citizenship. Look at that. What is it saying? Undefined variable. Even PHP Storm is trying to help you out. So now what happened if you you don't use the PHP Storm? Let me open it up the folder here. Now we're going to come back. One thing I'm going to tell you right now, do not get used to PHP Storm. When you go to job interviews, they're not going to give you PHP Storm. PHP Storm is good for learning process, during the learning process. When you're exercising is good. But what I want you to do, because when you go there, they might give you a notepad. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm going to give you a notepad that you have to write your code. So they will be like, oh my God, I'm used to PHP Storm. PHP Storm used to suggest me what to write and what to type. You see what I'm talking about? So I want you to start learning. It's like a shablon. You need to understand the blocks, like what does it mean, what command and what's after this, all that stuff. It's very important. Okay, so now I'm going to show you. I'm going to do it with the notepad. So you're going to come back here, HTDocs, and myITDU. Where the hell is myITDU? Did I lose it? What am I writing here? myITDU. That's. Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta delete this memory. I did not watch another one. All right, so myITDU. And then what? Where am I? Can you help me, somebody? Somebody help me, please. Somebody help me.
we're working on the robotics.
Yes. Girls? Why guys are more active participating than you guys, huh? Projects. Then where? Robotics, right? Click on modified robotics. And then what? Modified September 26th, right? So what I'm doing is I'm gonna right click and open with Notepad. So if I write from a notepad, scratch, right? So I'm gonna come back. Look, it's gone. So imagine you're at the job during the job interview. This is what you're gonna see. PHP Storm is not helping you, right? Because this is not PHP Storm. So now when you write something, say, hey, I'm gonna assume that citizenship exists. Citizenship. right? Citizenship. Or you can just write this following. Hello, my name is John, and I am a citizenship country, right? And then citizen. Okay, so you write that. And what happened? You just put the semicolon and save, come back, does the same thing. And then let's go ahead and execute that. Refresh. Opa. Now PHP Storm, not PHP Storm, the server is throwing an error. Throwing an error. Why? Because undefined variable called citizenship. Undefined. It basically means it's not a warning, it's not a fatal error, it's just a notice. It's like a slap on the wrist. It's not it is big deal, but it's not that big deal. It's not like a warning, or it's not like a fatal error. Program continues to execute. Program, it's not going to halt, or it's not going to exit right there. And we know when it's going to exit. Can you tell me? Under what circumstance the program will halt and exit? When?
When we have the fatal error, I think so.
What?
When we have the fatal error.
Yes. Yes. What about the warning?
No.
No. So the program continues to execute, right? But it will throw you warning, basically say, hey, you don't have this file, but I just want to let you know, but I will continue. But the fatal error is that, oh no, you gotta have this. Whatever that executes or whatever that's missing, I need to have this in order for me to basically proceed to the next level. Voila, right? So everything's self-explanatory. Okay. That brings me to another question. How many PHP error types are you familiar with?
Three.
Three. And stop now, Mr. Ola. Three. Let's stop it right there. So you've done it enough now, because now I'm expecting others also participate. So if you give out too much information, they'll be sitting there like, oh, okay. No, let's ask other guys. Start number one. What is the one error type? Top one. Let's go.
For me?
No. Mr. Ola. Others. You're doing great so far. Thank you. Ladies, your participation is low. I'm going to tell you right now, you are no different than other male. You are a competitor as others. Come on, speak up and let's do it. Come on, guys. I'm pulling for you.
Warning.
You can do this. Okay, warning. Mr. 45, stop it here. That's enough from you. I'm expecting others. Good job. That's a warning.
Fatal error.
Fatal error. That's two. One more. You guys know this. I've talked about this many times. Nazarova. Come on. Fatima Khan. Zuhra. Come on. Fatima Khan, what do you think? I get one more left. So, fatal, warning. What's one missing?
What is it?
What's one missing?
What to say?
Notice.
Yes.
Yes, notice.
Yes.
See, you got to know that. And then, of course, there are other sub errors inside, right? There are a lot of them, other one. Okay. So now the question is, let's say this code is on production. So how do I turn it off? Let's give it like another 10 minutes a run, and then I'm going to stop for the question and answers. Okay. So how do I turn off this error message? I don't want to see this error message because it's production. How do I do that? How do I turn it off?
We have
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Create a citizenship variable.
Create citizenship here.
Variable.
Okay, if I don't want to do that, let's say like I have thousands of places that I have to go and check every one of them, but I want to just turn it off. I don't want those error messages to show up or popping up all over the places. Only notice. Or maybe all errors, just completely. Yes, sir.
We do have.
Goodbye. Huh?
In PHP programming language does have the command. It's the error reporting. If you just put the 0, it will not show any error.
Okay. let's do what Mr. Aga is saying. Error reporting, and we'll put 0 and semicolon, and when I refresh, boom. Good job. That hides the error message. What we're saying, I don't want you to report any errors because it's production. I don't want my customers to see some silly operate like a programmer's mistake. How can you, now let me ask you this. How can you use a variable without declaring it? And that's why, and about 15 minutes ago, I asked you, how do you validate or how do you check if the variable exists? Is set. You check that is set if this variable, or you come back here. I'm delete this everything. So if you create a citizenship, right, citizenship, and if you don't know if this one exists or not, right, citizenship, you can put what? Call it still operator, right? You can just say what? Let's say USA. Now, when I say echo, let's see what I'm gonna get. This basically checks true or false. Hey, is this it? Does this one exist? Answer is yes. Then use that one.
USA.
Yes. If it doesn't exist, if citizenship is not declared and is not there, then use this USA. Boom, easy. That way, it will basically avoid those awkward moments, unnecessary notices popping up all over the place. Perhaps maybe it may lead to warnings because imagine like you have somewhere something you're doing, combination of different multiple variables, and then 1 or 2 variables are missing, and that notice can turn to warning, and that warning can turn to panel. And that's gonna look very bad on you as a developer. They're not gonna, what they blame is they're gonna blame the company. They're not gonna blame Mr. Aga. They're not gonna know you because the client. Let's say if Google goes down or Google messed up something, do you know anybody by name? I don't think so. You'll never know. You just say Google messed up. And guess what? The Google management, they're gonna blame you. They know who did it. They're like Mr. Aga's team. And then Mr. Aga's team come back, the manager, and manager knows who's working with what. Mr. Aga, you're supposed to do that. How? Go to GitHub, pull down, and then watch this. And I know how to find that person. Like, easy. I can say git watch this. So if somebody did this, I say git blame. I just type blame. Yani, как будет по-русски, по-узбекски. Blame. Обвинять кого-то, да? No, but anybody knows that? You guys know the blame? Kimgadir anaqa nima dedi? Haqorat emas, ayblash, to'g'rimi? Bu yerda unaqa ma'noda kelmayapti. Unaqa ma'noda kelmayapti. Unaqa ma'noda kelmayapti. U ma'noda kelyaptiki, o'shani menga detalni kim almashtirganini aytib berdi. Mana hozir ko'rsataman. Keling bitta nimaga kiraydi? Mana New Yorkga, который hamma ishlagan. Vat mana New York. Keling endi men massaga kiramanda, masalan deylik, rosa ko'p anaqalar bo'lgan ekan, mana. Rosa ko'pchilik. Massada tura qolsin, bo'lmasa, yo misol jon toshmatib kelsa ham bo'ladi. Voy, ko'rdingizmi? Juda ham ko'pchilik. Juda ham ko'pchilik. Mana. Keling jon toshmatga kiramiz. Commitga bosaman. And keling bir somewhere mana tashib bor ekan, svet bor ekan. Mana keling mana shuni bosamiz-da endi. Bo'ldi. Mana endi svet committed mayda 3-sida mana buni commit qilgan ekan. Unfortunately, there's some bad stuff left. We should not be leaving emails. Yeah, we should not be doing that. Okay? So now we're going to kelasiz. Mana buni bosasiz. You can say view file. Now there's a call blame. Now click on blame. 5 months ago. Ismini ham chiqarib beryapti. Yoki yana qaytib borasiz. Go'zal is pushing her login degan ekan 16 days ago. جزء صغير. commit المسلسل. And now you're going to come back, and that's a master. Goes out pushing the code. آخر كلها goes out actively push قلت كنا كمان قلت o'zimizni go'zal hisob berib mana ana shu to'tir ana qolganlardan hali ko'rganim yo'q ko'rdingizmi so mana keling hozir pastga tushamiz sho'ramiz oldinga boramiz man sizga просто blame qilishni ko'rsatib beraman. I'm just showing you the blame. There are other developers. They pushed. They pushed. There are a lot of them. Now, but mostly it's John Tashmato. Saving. We're gonna keep going. I'm just trying to find somewhere like mixed so that I can show you who did it what. All right, so let's keep going. So it looks like this has been a lot of work with the daughter right here. So if I click on any of the files, let's say who did this, right? I want to know who worked on this. View file and click on blame. So that means 8 months ago. That's for the daughter right here. And that's the dollars, all of them. So what that means, ladies and gentlemen, that will wrap up our technical section of our class today. What that means basically, working with the GitHub, most companies use the GitHub, like Git. You can use the Bitbucket, you can use the SVN, and some organization, they use some other deployment tools like Jenkins, okay? It may probably be beyond your control. That might not be your responsibility, depending on the size of the team, the company, and the budget. But as a developer, you must know how to work with the version controller. You need to be able to pull, you need to be able to push, you need to be able to fix the merge conflicts, and so on, okay? And that's what it means. You need to, when you accidentally delete something, when you accidentally mess up something, you have to be careful. And there are a lot of, there are many moments out there sometimes in your life, in your career that, I'm not saying all the time, but there may be some mistakes. We make mistakes along the way. We're human. And that's why a lot of organizations, if they have a better preparations, what they do is they have a system set up like a code review. What the code review means, like anytime when you go from staging to, when you're from a local environment to go to the QA environment, from QA environment to go to pilot or staging, and then from staging to production, there are steps, processes that usually executed, like a code review, like senior developers, SMEs, like subject matter experts. What they do, they get together like, okay, so let me check, make sure Mr. Agha or Nazakat or Guzalhan, they're writing the proper code, make sure it's meeting the requirements, and there's no vulnerable spots. And they approve. It's like, okay, John approves the Mr. Agha's code, everything's fine. It's okay to push it to the next level. And that's why they have this system set up. But unfortunately, if you get hired somewhere like for small companies, like a mom and pop company, guess what? They don't have that luxury. They don't have enough budget to hire all the people for individual tasks. So that means you're going to be wearing a different hats. You're going to have to do multitasking. You should know how to set up the environment from setting up the Apache to Linux and Ubuntu. You need to run a composer, package manager. You need to be able to set up the hosting, the virtual hosting, your IP to the domain, SSL, AWS, everything. You should know all that. It depends on the company. That as you gain experience, you're going to be picking up those skills along the way. Just keep your mind open. You just keep your eyes open. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm not a one-dimensional. I'm a multi-dimensional. So I want to be like, okay, learn those TCP, the protocols. Networking is important. You got to know the network topology. I'm not saying that you have to be network administrator or system administrator, but you should know what's HTTP, What's the port? What are the ports you are familiar with? 80, 88, 21, 25, 25, 25, 22. What is the 22? What's the SSH? FTP, Telnet. Okay, you guys know that. You should know all that. At least better understand. Okay, what's the difference between HTTP versus HTTPS? What port? They can ask you during the job interview, what port does SSL use? Boom. What ports does non-SSL use? Who can tell me? Raise a hand. Anybody? Come on, guys.
Excuse me?
HTTP. What's HTTP? What port does it use? And what does HTTPS use? I give you a hint. 80. Which one? Which one? Yes, sir.
The HTTP is the secure the part.
Okay. HTTPS. Yeah.
Yes, and HTTP is not secure.
HTTP, no E. So HTTP uses the port number 80.
Okay.
And HTTPS uses port number 443. 443. So I'm gonna show you something. So let's say I'm gonna share my screen, and then we're gonna jump on question and answers section. So let me share my screen here. I hope I'm not going too fast for you guys, because a lot of times when you join organizations, they don't have time. Hold your hands. I want you to be tough. I want you to get ready. Be ready for competition, okay? So let's say HTTPS. I'm going to do HTTP. Let's go Google. Let's see if this set up. Sometimes they might set up differently. But unfortunately, they're forcing HTTPS automatically. But if I do this, 443, and it still works. You see what I'm talking about? So let me see if I can do HTTP, my ITDU. Okay, good. See that? HTTP. Now, if I put this 80 is fine. You see that? 80 is by default, it's HTTPS port number. Now, what happens if I put 443? I don't have that. I don't have the HTTPS. See? And it can be other port numbers. So let me show you what port numbers. Top popular port numbers. Okay, so 20 most scanned port numbers. So 21 FTP, 22 SSH, 23 Telnet, 25 SMTP, 53 domain name system, 80 HTTP, 110 POP3, which is email, RPC bind, and we're gonna keep going. Boom, boom. Okay, so there's TCP, that's a UDP, right? How do you listen to music? The music, what way the music comes in? How do you download the file, image, everything? They have this protocol. So I'm not asking you need to know all the detail, but you should have some, at least basic knowledge. MySQL, and you guys seen that. Come on, don't tell me you never seen MySQL when you open up the SQL Pro and 3306, it's right there. Open up the SQL Pro and tell me this is a port number 3306, and you see it almost every day or every time you work with the database. You see that? And I can go on. That other one. And what happened there? What just said it? Right here. Right here. All of them. Mail, SMTP, POP3, all of them. Okay, guys, we're gonna continue our dialogue. I mean, this is good. Now let's take a moment and let's see if anybody has any questions. So we're still live. I just remind you. Thank you for active participation, all of you guys. You're doing great. You're doing a great job. Now it's a moment Do you have any questions? And this is a good time. Go for it. Honey? You can speak Uzbek if you want, Russian, Tajik, Turkmen, Turkish. I speak 5 languages. Go ahead. I understand. If not, you can speak all the 28 languages. I can use the Google Translate. Honey? You guys should not be ashamed or like shy. We're all here to learn. Come on now.
I have a question.
You don't have a question. Good job. Okay, so he doesn't have a question. That means everything is so far so good, right? Good, good. Who else? Mr. Burgenbayev. Sir, up there on the right. You may want to unmute your microphone. Yes, sir.
Boyani so'rab jo'natuvdim, chatdan jo'natuvdim. Boyagi print arni tekshirib ko'rmadik-da, nimada boyagi false nimada, uni tekshirib ko'rsa bo'ladi bu savol edi.
Yeah, that you can try printing R, but printing R does not return like sometimes false. It can return because if you try that, it can do like echo, like 1 or 0, but it doesn't return the false. Wardam is the best option for you. So use the Wardam. All right, so far so good, Burgenbayev, for you? Okay, all right. If it's good, you guys understand. I want to hear that too. If it's not good, then I want to hear that too. So I want to know if you guys understand, because I'm doing this for you. I know this. I don't need to repeat myself.
savol bor edi-da, Jon aka.
Yes, Guzal. Eshitaman.
Hozir Sherzod aka so'radi, printer qo'yganimizda nima chiqadi deb. Ana shu klassda ishlatganimizda F'da exit qo'ydingizdagi exitni yonidan yozib ketdingiz ikoni. Keyin exitni tagidan iko yozib chaqirdingizda tepada variable'da. Men o'ylagan edim exitdan keyin chiqmasa kerak deb, lekin chiqdi-ku iko. Exitni pastida.
No, agar else'da bo'lsa chiqadi. Else'da bo'lishi kerak. Siz adashtirdingiz. Exit bo'lib turib, mana bu yerda echo bo'lsa chiqmaydi hayotda. Men sizga hayotimni afshat qilaman. I will never, because mana bu exit bo'ldi mana birinchi liniyada. Qarang mana bu. 17-liniyada exit, 18-liniyaga siz echo yozsangiz bor-ku, 18 will never execute. Ever. Qachon execute qiladi? Qachonki if'da exit bor, else'da echo bo'lsa, agar mana bu birinchi portionni if agar true bo'lmasa, else bo'ladi. O'shandagina siz shunga adashtirib yordingiz hozir. Exit tagida hech qachon execute bo'lmaydi. Exit degani kompyuterga, serverga aytyapsizki, mana shu liniyadan bo'ldi, bu yog'i chiqmasdan chiqib ket degani. Bu yog'i past bo'lmaydi hech narsa. That's what it's called, exit or die.
Men o'yladim exitni hamma narsada qo'ysa hech narsa chiqmaydimi deb o'yladim. Mana else chiqar ekan u exitdan keyin endi bildim.
Chunki
Bu narsada shart qo'yilgandiki if deb. O'sha joyda if shart bajarilgan holda chiqmas edi. If shart bajarilmagan holda chiqib ket degan edi-da. O'sha bilan.
If statement bor-ku. Masalan, sizga bor go to the store, buy me a Pepsi. So if there is a Pepsi, buy. Endi qarang, teskarisi ham bo'lishi mumkin. If there is no Pepsi, leave the store. Qarang, leave the store. I don't need anything else. Menga Pepsi bo'lmasa, menga boshqa hech narsa kerak emas. Ya'ni if there is no Pepsi, exit. Ya'ni pastida Coke bormi, Mountain Dew bormi, boshqa narsa bo'lyapti, menga farqi yo'q. That's nonam olib kelmaysiz. Agar Pepsi bo'lmasa, faqat uni Pepsi uchun borgansiz. O'shaning uchun ifga qarang. Agar if there is a Pepsi, buy Pepsi. If there is no Pepsi bo'lsa, else bo'lib ketadi. Ya'ni aks holda.
Agar
if teaching xohlasangiz exit qiling. Xohlasangiz главный condition, ya'ni condition как будет? Sharoitda, shart. Agar shart javob berilsa, o'sha shart to'g'ri kelsa, siz o'shani qilasiz. O'sha curly bracketdan curly bracket tugagungacha. Mana shu orasida hamma komandlar bo'ladi. Aks holda mana bu else to'g'ri komandalar bo'ladi. Tak что mana bu exit yozaverasiz, u problema yo'q.
Shuni tushunmagandim, rahmat.
Yo'q. Okay, anybody else? Hali uyalmasdan tap. Topiladi. Savolni berganda o'zi ham bir kredit oladi deb qo'yay. Hamma ham bera olmaydi savolni.
Menda qo'shimcha bor hozir Jon aka, bu haligi Go'zal opani aytgan savoliga. bu yerda if statement berilyapti, shart berilyapti.
Yes.
Bu yerda bracket ochilish bracketi bor va yopilish bracketi bor, to'g'rimi? If statement
Yes.
qo'yilgandan keyin. O'sha if statement orasiga shartni qo'ydikdagi closing bracket yopilgan-ku, bracket yopilgan. O'sha yerga siz else'ni qo'ymadingiz, o'sha vaqtda Go'zal opa chalkashida o'sha yopilgandan keyin echo'dani qo'ydingiz, o'zi qo'ymasa ham o'zi avtomatik chaqiraveradi-ku shuni.
Yeah. Okay, so let me show you that. I know where you're confused. Okay, I think I know where you're confused. So let's go back here. Qarang, Go'zalxon Sobirova va boshqalar. Qayerda men sizni anaqa qilganingizni men aytib beraman. Demak, buni olib tashlaymiz. If, to'g'rimi? Is set deymanda $John deyman. Okay? Mana bu yerda men agar bo'lmasa, men exit qilib ketaman. Ya'ni John agar declare qilinmagan bo'lsa, aytamanki the variable John is not declared or defined. To'g'rimi? Either way. Biz shundaymi, ha? Endi qarang mana bu yerga. Men else yozmayman, chunki no else statement is needed because mana endi qarab turing. Endi urushgan olamiz, mana deymiz. Demak, kompyuter o'qishini qarang. Kompyuter o'qiydi-da, mana bu if ga keladi. If qaradiki is set John bormi yo'qmi? Bu yerda yo'q bo'ladi baribir. This is going to come back true. Chunki it's not true. It's not false, it's true. Teskarisi bu true bo'ladi. Chunki aytyapsizki, Johnning nimasi kiritilmaganmi? Javob true. Kiritilganmiga javob false. Chunki kiritilmagan. Agar ikki marta negativda ikki marta ishlatsangiz, bu true ga aylanib ketadi. Ya? Tamamlaymi? Okay. So, bunga aytyapti. Go'zalxon, mana qarang. Agar mana bu to'g'ri kelsa, mana bu shart to'g'ri kelsa, mana bu yerdan chiqib ketgan deyapti-da. Agar bu mana bu shart to'g'ri kelmasa, you don't get to execute this. Bu ishlamaydi. Siz davom etib ketaverasiz. Mana bu ishlab ketaveradi.
Men exit ko'rib savol berganingizda aytdimki, hech narsa o'zgarmaydi deb. Chunki eco ishlamaydi exitdan keyin deb o'yladim-da.
No. Shartga qarang. Qayerda kelyapti bu exit? Exitni kelishiga ham qarang-da. Exit bu mana bu shartda kelyapti. Agar bu bo'lsagina, to'g'ri kelsagina keyin buni chiqargin deyapti. Aks holda davom etaver. Mana bu else yozishingiz shart emas. Chunki bu yerda exit qilgansizda. Endi qarang.
Bu yerda nima chiqadimi? Yozuv chiqadimi?
Ha, yozib chiqadi-da.
Exit qilyapsiz.
Yo'q, agar mana bu to'g'ri bo'lsa. Agar deyapmiz is set. To'g'rimi? Is set. Agar buni teskarini qiladigan bo'lsak, mana $John deylik. $John teng Toshmatov deylik masalan. O'zimning ismimni ham vaqtida noto'g'ri yozyapman nimagadir. Mana kelamiz. No else statement is needed because men aytyapmanki John Toshmatov yaratilmaganmi deyapti. Nima bo'ladi javob? John Toshmatov yaratilmagan?
Yo'q bo'ladi.
False, yo'q emas, false. False. Menga faqat true kerak.
Yo'q, bu yerda men hayron qolayotganim exit berilyapti-da, yana nima ketyapti-da, string javob.
Qayta tushunmadim. Nima ketyapti?
Birinchi shartni nimasini ichida exit berdingiz. Exit degan buyruqda o'zi chiqib ketishidir-ku. Yoki mana shuni chiqarib chiqib ketadi endi.
Yes, mana shuni yozib chiqib ketgan degani. Ichiga tekst jo'natishingizga qobiliyatiga ega bo'lasiz. Chunki exitning asosiy tarixiy ma'nosi ilgarigi programmalarda ham bor, Linuxda ham bo'lgan. Siz bu yerda ko'p paytlari exitning ma'nosi odatda liniyaning nomerini, qaysi liniyaning nomerini yoki qanaqadir return value jo'natishingiz mumkin. Bir masalan qanaqadir system error bo'lishi mumkin, ikki masalan notice bo'lishi mumkin, 3 masalan qanaqadir notice bu yoki undan tashqari siz o'zingizni notisingizni ham berishingiz mumkin. Masalan aytadiki, this system lost DB connection. So that way what happens is qabul qiladigan bir xil bitta application, bitta functionni chiqib ketishi, ikkinchi function undan qanaqadir javob kutadi. So there's a moment that when you exit, you may want to exit gracefully with some meaning message. Like why exit? O'zini exit qilarsam hozir. Look what's going to happen. Okay? Okay, what just happened there? Man logga kirib chiqishim kerak. Okay. Now, besides exit, you can also use die. Exit the program, exit execution of the program here. Well, exit here. Mana qolgan olib tashlayman. Die, exit die, same thing. Bu Zen certification emasda ham so'raydi. Osongina bitta savol bor. Is die equal same thing as the exit yoki shunga o'xshagan. Okay? Buning uchun faqat qachon nima bo'ladi? Close. Mashg'ulotdan close sizda experience bo'laveradi. You just have to do it. Only way you can improve your knowledge and gain new knowledge is by doing it. You have to spend time. I can tell you, guarantee right now, most of you not spending enough time. I understand you got life, you got the personal stuff going on, but if you don't dedicate, you don't have commit certain hours a day, how do you expect progress? Guys, you can, if you want to become a doctor, if you want to become a lawyer, if you want to become something else, you still have to put that hours, put those hours, like every day. You have to study, you have to go to school, you have to do the labs, you have to do the practice, exams, quiz. It's the same thing here. Same thing here. So show hand who spends every day 1 hour. 1 hour do this. Like learning stuff, variables and stuff. See, none. Now, who should be, I guess, where should be looking the problem? Like where? Who should we blame when we don't make progress? Us, ourselves. O'zimizni. Birovni emas. Imkoniyatlaringiz zo'r, o'rtoqlar, azizlar. Men sizlarni kritika qilish niyatim yo'q, lekin majburman, chunki that's why my job. Kerak joyda sizni tutib ketishim kerak, motivatsiya berib ketishim kerak, kerak joyda to'g'ri ko'rsatib, kerak joyda sizni kerak bo'lsa criticize qilishim kerak. Chunki student siz bilmaysiz bor gohida, to'g'ri yo'lda ketyapsizmi, noto'g'ri yo'lda ketyapman. Buni men ko'rib turibman hammani. Kim noto'g'ri, kim qilmaydi. Guys, dekabr ham yaqinda kelib qoladi. So we got October, November, December. If we really want to get into IT job, we're still not too late. Come on, guys. Let's do this. My yanvarda hammalaringda. I want to see all of you at least get a junior developer position. Any questions? Agar uslublaring ishlamayotgan bo'lsa, Jon aka men o'zimni ilmimni aytiraman. Jon aka men harakat qilyapman, cho'tda menda ne получается. Mana bo'lmayapti. Okay, nima qilyapsiz? Ishdan keyin kelaman, charchab qolaman, bir xillar quvvat yo'q yo interest yo'q qoladi yoki ertaga ishga tayyorlanishim kerak, bola chaqa. I understand all that. I understand. I'm in the same boat. I'm on the same boat. Sometimes yeah, I feel tired. Men jimga bormaganimga o'zi bir hafta bo'ldi. To'g'risini aytganda, jimga borganimga shu ish bilan bo'ldi. So, what is it like best practices? What do you do? Is that in the morning? Maybe you're a morning person. You wake up in the morning, maybe you hit the gym for half hour, treadmill. Обязательно don't forget the gym, okay, guys? Physical activity, number one. As we get older, not good. We gotta get exercise. Muscle active self, okay? Number two, it's my personal, I'm not recommending, but I'm saying is vitaminlar ham yetishmasa ham odam anaqa bo'ladi, okay? Vitamins. You gotta get lots of vitamins. Make sure you're eating properly. Nutrition, ingredients, make sure they're all less sugar, less Pepsi, Coke, and all that stuff. Exercise, get a lot of fresh air. Try to eliminate all the stress, unnecessary stress in life. I know it's not easy, but try. Control that. All right? Try to have some positive conversation at least once a day with someone. Uplifting. Watch something at least that cheer you up. That's plus, okay, guys? I understand saying is easier than done. But by looking into most of your eyes, you guys going through some tough time, looks like, right? Is there something bothering you guys? If not, then we should be focusing on the job, on getting our career started. So that's all I can say right now. Anybody has anything you want to add? Anybody want? Kim e'tibor berdi mana Misroqqa bugun eski televizorda chiqqan. Eski televizorda chiqqan. Kim e'tibor berdi mana? Kim bilan mana Sherbek e'tibor berdi. Eski televizorda mana chiqdi. Odamlar yangi kelajakka intilsa, bizni Misroqamiz tarixga intilib yashaydi. Nostalgiya bilan yashaydi desam. Yo, hozir. Yo, yaxshi, klassik bir retro bir nima olib kelibdi, ko'ryapsizmi? Mana shu yerdan bilsa bo'ladi, Misroqada ozgina harakat bor. Qanaqadir bir hayotida bir spice up qilib turadi, bir qanaqadir yangilik narsalarni harakat qilgan. I expect you guys, all of you guys green nima, orqalaringda bir xil turibdi. Qaysi birlaring keyin shu darsdan keyin mana bitta bir yaxshiroq nima, shundan boshlasa bo'ladi. E'tiboringiz shu yerdan bo'ladi. Настолько siz mana shu o'qishga e'tibor berishingiz. I want to change my background. I want to look good. Why not? I want to look good. Men hozir ofisda o'tirmasam ham, kampusda o'tirmasam, zato men onlaynda turibman. Why not? Yeah, enjoy it, right? I mean, we're all team. So, rебята, bugunga menimcha yetadi deb o'ylayman. Savollarning yo'q o'xshaydi. Men bitta ikkita savol eshitdim, qolganlarda yo'q. Demak, bularni tushundingiz ham. Lekin one thing I can guarantee you, ikkita darsdan keyin men sizdan shuni so'rasam borib, esimda yo'q jon aka, men esimda yo'q, bilmadim. Tushunmadim-da o'sha yerda deysiz. Men bo'lgan bu narsa. Am I right or not? 50% right.
Jon aka, yana bitta savol bordi, aytmay turdim. Endi aytaversam bo'ladimi? Ana u boyagi kod challenge-da bitta nimani qila olmadim-da hech. Hozir o'shani ko'rsatib yuboray bitta she'r qilib, maylimi?
Hali abababa degan so'z mashhur qilib.
Yo, uni ko'ruvdik.
What is it?
Yo, yangi nima chiqqan ekan bu algebradan.
Okay. Qani?
Hozir uni o'zini topolmayman endi birdaniga. Mana bunaqa narsa. String berilyapti, mana bu narsa.
Aha. Qani?
Stringga qarab tenglamani yechimini chiqarish kerak.
Okay, x valuesi nima ekan?
X topish kerak.
Okay, x topish kerak, okay? X
Bu
plus
yerda mana bu stringni men arrayga aylantirib olib, masalan x mana explode bilanda arrayga aylantirib olayapman. Mana bu narsa chiqyapti, mana qarang. Mana bunaqa narsa.
mana echo print qo'ying, oldiga tepasiga echo print qo'ying. Format beradi. Tepasiga. Echo vordamdan oldi echo pre. Nima? Kavычкада.
Nima beryapsiz, tushunmay qoldim.
HTMLda pre degan nimasi bor?
Aha.
Bo'lmadimi?
Yo'q.
Pre bo'ldimi? Bo'ldi, bo'lish kerak. Endi qilingchi. Print qilsangiz ham bo'laveradi albatta. Ana bo'ldi. X plus okay. Good. Bo'ldi. Endi bilasiz ular.
Endi yo'q, bu yerda boshqa muammo chiqyapti. Mana qarang. Men buni mana nima degan almashtirib olaman, mana qarang. Almashtirib qarang, bu yerda string chiqyapti. Buni har birini nima qilishimiz ham mumkin mana bu yerda.
Hozir nima qilmoqchisiz burada? X valyusini topishingiz kerak?
Yo'q, integerga aylantirib olmoqchiman, masalan.
Zachем?
$sign element deymanda yana bu barobar int valmidi yo'q.
Yo'q, hozir tushunmayapman. U elementlar qayerdan kelyapti u?
Yo'q, asli bu kerak emas ham. Mana o'sha yerda tashlayman buni. Kerak emas. Qarang. Endi qarang. Mana bular ham kerak emas hozir bu yerda.
Ko'p narsa kerak emas.
Tashlaymiz. Mana buni ham o'chirib tashlang. Juda soddalashtiryapman-da endi. Uzr. Qarang, mana buni o'rniga hozir. Mayli buni ham o'chirib tashlaymiz.
Hozir hammasini o'chirib tashlaymiz hozir, qarab turib.
Yo'q, xato qilyapman. Mana for each kerak emas qisqasi bu yerda.
Bunga chiqdi, suv qo'ydi. O'chirib turing, shu bilan shug'ullanib o'chirish bilan.
Aha.
Tayyorman. Hammasini o'chirdingizmi?
Yo'q, hammasi.
O'chirmabsiz hali ham. Qarang, hozir you complicating nimagini prosess juda ham complicated qilyapsiz-da. Sizdan qarang mana, o'zi qilib qo'yibsiz. Export qilganingizda array kerak emas. Export qilganingizda o'sha nimani, har bitta nimani bo'lib tashlabdi, bundan qilib. To'g'rimi? Bo'lib tashlabdi. Mana hozir nimangizga boring, brauzerga. Go back to browser. Endi qarang. Men hozir bitta narsa ko'rsatay sizga. Mana shu tursin. Men sizga clue beraman, o'shani qilib ko'rasiz. Qarang endi. Men hozir ruchkamni olaman. E'tibor bering. Agar mana shu formula shu formatda kelsa har doim, demak yechimi oson. Bu juda ham oson. Agar shu formatda kelsa har doim. Unda siz nima qilasiz? E'tibor bering. Buni oti nima edi? Array oti? Nima deb? What's the array name? Vec. Vec debsizlar? Okay, go back to the browser now. Endi qarang, menga hozir mana bu $sign vec bu arrayda, to'g'rimi? Mana bu array. Bu 0-chi hisoblanadi. Men 0-chisini topishim uchun mana bu 7, ya'ni mana bundan vec bu nechinchi?
Aka, men bitta narsani nima qila olmayapman. Bu yerda mana bu plus chiqayapti-ku, men hozir mana shuni kopiya qilib nimaga olib boraydi? PHP ni o'ziga. O'sha yerda yoki bo'lmasa hozir mana bunday qilamiz.
Agar bu har doim o'zgarsa, plus emas, minus, bir gal, yana safar ko'paytirish bo'lsa, unda siz eval deb ishlatasiz. Eval o'tgan safar ishlatganman-ku.
PHP ni qayerga yo'qotib qo'ydim men? PHP store'imda. Yo'qotib qo'ydim-da. Uzr. Bu kerak narsa.
Birisi eval kerak bo'ladi, tog'am. Aytib qo'ying. Oddiy matematik operatsionni ishlatmoqchi bo'lsangiz,
Evaluate qilish. Yo'q, men masalan mana bu yerda bor-ku. Men bitta narsa savolim mana bunaqangi. Hozir men mana bu yerga masalan $sign vector masalan mana bunday narsa demoqchiman. Masalan 0-chi yoki masalan 3-chini ifodalab olmoqchiman. Mana shuni topa olmayapman men. Masalan $sign vektorimiz bu yerda 3 ga teng.
bitta $sign operator teng vektor 3. Operator belgilab oling, postoyanno o'sha turadi keyin. $sign operator equal oldin, uni oldinga. Liniya 5. $sign operator yozing. Operator teng. Now simplify qoldingiz. Endi 3 emas, siz operatorni bilasiz o'sha masalani. Bo'ldi, okay. Bu simplification. Bo'ldi. Endi number 1 deysizda, uni ham tenglab oling nimaga? Yoki x qiling, yoki unknown deysiz, masalan, yoki o'sha nimani topmoqchi bo'lsangiz.
Yo'q, men mana shu masalan mana bu yerda mana bu 3 bor-ku. 3 da men arraydan ajratib printer qilib olsam bo'ldi, bir marta ajratib olsam bo'ldi. Bu yoq qiyin emas, o'shani qiymati.
2 bu array 2. Vec 2 qiling.
Plus ham bor bu yerda.
Yo'q.
Ha, 2 to'g'ri. 2.
Bo'ldi. Har doim o'sha nomerni beradi sizga. 3 bo'lishini, 3mi, 4mi, 5mi, 100 bo'lishidan qat'iy nazar har doim o'shani beradi.
Mana shuni chiqaraylik bo'lmasa.
Operator olib tashlang bo'lmasa endi, kerak emas o'zi. Agar shuni chiqarmoqchi bo'lsa, operator olib tashlang, operator. Bo'ldi. Operator kerak emas. Endi mana hozir qilsangiz plus chiqadi hozir. Bo'ldi.
Chiqish kerak.
Ya, chunki chiqmaydi hozir, chunki solve x plus bo'ldi. Mana shu agar shu yerdan chiqib ketsangiz, chiqaring endi. 3 dedingizmi?
3. Mana bunaqa narsa chiqyapti, как раз. Undefined offset.
Okay, orqaga qaytib oling, chunki u yerda variable'ni nima qilmayapti, topmayapti. Go back. Okay, qarang. First of all, you get rid of this guy because that's not, you don't need it. Mana endi qiling. Go back and do it.
Bo'ldi, tushunarli qila olaman o'zim ham. Rahmat.
Nima deysiz?
Tushunarli bu yog'i. O'zim qilaman, davom ettiraman bu yog'ini.
You got it now?
Aha, tushundim.
Good. All right. Bo'lmasa azizlar, agar savollaring bo'lmasa, o'ylaymanki bugungi darsimiz ozgina bo'lsa ham bir ma'noli bo'ldi. Bir ikkita yangi narsalar o'rgandinglar yo bilganlaringizni ko'paytirib qildinglar. Shundaymi? Demak, o'zlaringiz fikr va mulohazalaringizni bildirib qolinglar. Men bilay, nima ishlayapti, nima ishlamayapti. Chunki jim o'tirgan bilan ish bitmaydi. Men yuragimni kuydirib, jonimni kuydirib sizlarga harakat qilganimni aytib qo'yib, bu ikkalamiz ham birdaniga ishlashimiz kerak. Bu ishlamaydi, aks holda. Ming bor uzr. Siz ham menga yordam berishingiz kerak, men ham sizga yordam berishim kerak. Aks holda bu qilgan ishimiz natija bermasligi mumkin. Agar siz maqsadingiz ishga kirish bo'lsa, agar yo'q, men jon aka, men o'rganaveraman, sekin-sekin mustaqillab keyin kiraman desangiz, unda ham bo'laveradi. Lekin agar maqsad 20-21 ga ishga kirish bo'ladigan bo'lsa, bu hozir qilgan ishimiz yetmaydi. Bu hozirda bahor. Mana shu ketaveradi, bo'laveradi, bahorlarga olasiz. Yanvarga emas. Aytib qo'y hozir. Zato o'rganyapsiz. Savol beringda, bugun darsda nima o'rgandim? Agar ijobiy bo'lsa, demak bugun bir narsa o'rgandim desa, "O yaxshi, men demak kunim yaxshi o'tdi." Agar hech narsa o'rganmadim desa, demak we have to have that talk. Why? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I need to know that too. Men o'zimni ishimni ham evaluate qilishim kerak. Biror joyda noto'g'ri beradigan bo'lsam, o'shani men to'g'rilab ishlashim kerak, okay? Rебята, it's been a pleasure working with you today. Thank you so much for joining and for active participation. O'ylaymanki, xudo xolasa sizlar bilan yangi ilmlar olamiz va yangi proyektlar kelyapti. Xudo xolasa ular ustidan ishlaymiz. Ishonchim juda ham baland sizlarga. Va sizning yaqin insonlaringizni ishonchi ham baland. Ularni ham esdan chiqarmang. Mas'uliyat sezing ozgina bo'lsa ham. Faqat olg'a, period. Taslim bo'lmasligimiz kerak. Okay? Только period. O'rganasiz. Bitta odam qilganda siz ham qila olasiz. Shuni bilsangiz bo'ldi. Falonchi qilmayapti, qilolmayapti. Just because they failed, it doesn't mean you're going to fail too. Remember one thing. Just because they were not able to do it, it doesn't mean you're going to go through the same thing. No, you just reject that idea. You say, "I'm sorry. That's you. That's me. This is my life. I'm responsible for my own life, for my own future, not you. You can give me all your bad advice or whatever. I don't care. Thank you. But no, you know what? Let me make that decision, not you." We got to say that at some point. You don't just go around and, no. Put them away. Everybody's going to say something. They can only talk. At the end of the day, you're the one who's going to make decisions, okay? Be strong. Once you make the commitment, go all the way. Don't give up. Don't let anyone else change your mind or come in and say something else different. So, guys, Nasibaxon? Gapirmadingizmi? Bo'lmasa, yigitlar, qizlar, bugun sizlar bilan ko'rishib mana ancha bo'lsa ham ishladik. Bahoyat xursand bo'ldim. Kelinglar, keyingi darsda yana ham bir pozitiv nimalar bilan o'rganib, yangi ilmlarni, qirralarini zarf etaylik. O'ylaymanki, xudo xolasa yaxshi bo'ladi. Yigitlar, Zo'rxon Maqsudiy, rahmat sizga, Sherbek Naimov, Sherzoddan Burgurbayev, Go'zal Sobirova, Nazokat Ergasheva, Og'ibek Abdurahmonov, Nasibaxon Nazarova, Fotima Maqsudova va yana kim bor? Boshqalar. Afsuski bugun Svet darsga qatnasha olmadi. Trafikka tushib qoldi ekan. O'ylaymanki, keyingi darsda qatnashadi. Boshqa hech kim esdan chiqarmadimmi? Chunki hamma ekranni ko'rmayapman-da. Bo'ldi bo'lmasa. Yigitlar, qizlar, sog' omon bo'linglar. Xudo xolasa yaxshi kunda ko'rishamiz. Yaxshi kechqurun yaxshi o'tsin, unumli o'tsin. Good night, guys. Bo'pti, guys. Sog' bo'linglar. Hozircha xayr. Bye bye.